Dear viewers, welcome on Sick Bikers Testing Loop. Today we are pushing to the limit a super fast hardtail. You've already seen this loop on my previous episode, which is very much like a cross-country track. There is many steep climbs, there is many routes, there is some sand like this downhill here, and some technical sections. So we are really trying to put those bikes to the limits. And today's bike is a hardtail. This is a Canyon Exceed CFSL 6.9 or 6.9 Pro Race. And I have to tell you, I do like this bike, even though there are some things I'm gonna complain about just a little bit. So, while doing this steep climb, what means CFSL 6.9? The Exceed, that's the hardtail bike, so we have a front suspension fork. CF means carbon fiber, so the chassis is made of carbon, and SL, that is the cheaper version of top of the range SLX that Canyon makes. And that means this frame, SL frame, will weigh just above 1000 grams. So it's just around 180 grams heavier than the SLX version. 6.9, that will mean Fox Performance 32 fork in the front and SRAM Level T brakes, DT Swiss X 1700 spline 2 wheels, and SRAM GX components. So really good bike, let's push it. Woo! I'm loving this course, really. So how the bike handles? It handles very well. It has the new geometry like most of the hardtails right now. Short rear end, longer front end, so it is pretty stable, but still quite nimble. So I do like the feel of this bike. Just over 1000 grams for a carbon bike, which is under $2,500. That's a really good price in my opinion, especially when you look at all the other components. And so let's start with the one thing I'm gonna complain about, and it's the fork. So Fox Performance 32 step cast. Now Fox make great forks, and I do like the way it works. I mean the progression of the air spring and how the rebound damping works, but it is flexy. So I told you before that the RockShox RS1, that was the first fork I didn't quite like in the corners because of how flexy it was comparing to my lefty. At least I would say Fox Performance 32 step cast is less stiff than my RS1 fork. So I don't quite like this about the fork there is on this bike. And the other thing is also that on the right side it is losing some grease. It's not the oil but grease. When we look at the upper, the right side, it's been cleaned, thoroughly cleaned just before I made this test, and this is how it looks like after doing maybe 15 kilometers. So new forks sometimes give you a little bit of a grease initially, but this one gives out just a little bit too much. So there is something with the seals, I think. The lockout is very good. So once you push it, it just works as you would like to. So it's just this modern type of a lockout. That means it's not super stiff. So if you forget to unlock it on the descent, it will still work. Here we have some steep descent, so really no problem for this bike. There is now hard braking, and I'm not able to do such a long bunny hop, especially that we are going still down the hill. But the feel of this bike is really good. I do like it. Now let's move forward. Components. Let's start maybe with the tires. Maxxis Icon, I have those on my Merida 96 team. I don't like these tires specifically on the corners once more, so the fork and the tires will not be super precise and quick in the corners. I think it might be quite quick tire on the hardback, but for the cross country I don't like Icon. I would choose much rather the cross marks, which are my beloved tires, but not Icon. All the other components are just really good, and I have to compliment once more Canyon for putting really good components to their bikes. Everything we know. So there is no like no name or just Canyon wheels, Canyon hubs, and then you don't know who really makes it, what's the weight and how it works. The wheels are DT Swiss X1700 Spline 2. I never complained about any DT Swiss stock wheels. I just like those. These are very reliable. They never go untrue after my testing. So some wheels, even when the bike comes to me as a new for testing, is already a bit untrue, and I have to still first through the wheel before I go and ride it. Here, no truing before ride, no truing after my rides. As you can see on this descent, it's pretty hard descent, still very good. I'm happy about DT Swiss X1700 wheels. So really good, quite stiff. You can see the rear wheel. Yeah, it is wobbling, it has to, because I'm really pushing this bike hard. Now, this descent here is pretty technical with some drops. I'm really happy about the chassis and the wheels. Components. We've got here SRAM GX, which is really good. Twister, that's the shifter we have on this bike. As I told you on the comparison between different shifting systems, Twister is the fastest, I would even say the simplest in terms of the design, but some riders would complain that they would just misshift, or they would shift just by accident, which sometimes happens. But I would say on my Eagle 1x12 the shifting is so easy and light that I would also sometimes, for example, upshift 2 gears when I just wanted one. So no real difference for me between triggers and grip shift. Grip shift is faster, very comfortable, I do like it. The rear derailleur is stable enough. You can see how it's working. This is really tough course. Not many riders would be able to ride it down the hill, at least for the first time, because you don't see it, but it's really steep. And there was no problem with the shifting. So GX, SRAM GX rear derailleur, good derailleur, I'm happy about it. Cassette. The look of those SRAM cassettes is really awesome. And now we have the stairs, cool part. So the cassette looks nice, but it also allows for crisp shifting, and it's I would say it's really like dirt and mud proof. No problem shifting also when it's just dirty and full of mud, because of how much space inside the cassette there is for anything to go through. So this is really good. Now the frame, as I told you, just over 1000 grams. It feels stiff, it feels good. Internal cable routing, I wanted to say it's perfect when I just rode it somewhere on my trails in my area, but here on this loop I have to tell you, when I was going down the stairs, I could hear the cables inside the frame just hitting the frame, so you can hear that, but it's only on the extreme situation. So I would say it's good. It's not perfect, but it's good. It's not loud at all. I wouldn't say that at all. But on some extreme situations, you will hear those cables just wobbling inside the frame. But it's nothing that I would say should be done better. Could be, but it's close to being perfect, let's say. Now the frame. In the head tube area, there is a special system that will protect our top tube from being hit by the handlebars. And I was thinking, this is really cool, because you are not really able to hit the handlebar to the top tube. But I asked Canyon specifically about it. What happens in the crash? Could it happen that the head tube would be would be damaged by this little system. And they told me that this little protector is made in the way so that just in case of really hard crash, this little part will come off and not damage the head tube. So the answer is pretty satisfying for me. I'm happy about it. Brakes. SRAM Level T. I'm running SRAM Level Ultimate on my Merida 96 team, and I would not say that Ultimate is stronger than Level T. Level T is just strong enough, good modulation, just good brakes. I find myself in different situations braking with 2 fingers instead of just 1. That means maybe not lack of power, but for example on Shimano SLX or even Diori, I would always use just 1 finger. Here sometimes 2 fingers. So these are not super powerful, but just good enough, I would say. So no complaining about that. All in all, the bike looks pretty cool. The inside surfaces of the frame are painted with lime green, but then on the rear triangle it goes into yellow, which is kind of cool. The graphics of Canyon, you can see somebody's riding the Canyon from the distance, which is nice. This is matte paint, so make sure you always clean it after a ride. If you're going through some muddy terrain, it can be more difficult or maybe sometimes impossible to clean it like 100% after a day or 2 if you just leave the bike dirty with some maybe grease also on the frame. Matte paint, especially this yellow and lime green parts, can be more difficult in terms of cleaning. Cons, the fork. I just didn't like the fork. The fork is not stiff enough in my opinion, so this step cast system maybe is not so good. And on the right side, the right upper was just having some grease and oil on it, which shouldn't be happening that much. Otherwise, the chassis is really good. The price of the bike, $2,500 on these components with really good wheels, good handlebars and stem, and pretty comfy saddle. Happy about it, really good bike. If you have further questions, put those in the comments. This is my testing loop. On the next episode, on this loop, you're gonna see the Rose Count Solo 2. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye bye.